Hi everybody, this is Andrea, and today I really want to talk about something that is very dear to my heart, and it is about standing up for what you know is right, what you believe is right, and what you really want to stand up for. And I will give you a couple of examples from my own life today. And the first one was this happened while I was working in a nursing home. I had actually just graduated that year from nursing, and I was working at the nursing home. And one morning I came to work, and while I was doing my rounds with the clients, this one patient had an NPO sign on top of her bed, which means nothing to eat or drink by mouse. And so I asked the girls, and they're like, well, that's what was decided. And I'm like, that makes no sense. So I went to the head nurse and I said, what's happening here? Why is she NPO? And the nurse said the family decided it was enough. It was time for this lady to die. It's like, I was so shocked. That was beyond anything. And I said, you can't just not give her anything to eat or drink just because the family decided they want her to die. And they're like, well, those are the orders. The family has the right to do so. And I'm like, no. So then I went to the director of care and I brought my argument and I said, do you think about yourself being in that bed? You're not able to say anything because this lady was bedridden and like she couldn't get up on her own and she couldn't talk either. So there was nothing she could do. And so the family just made that decision, and the nurses actually just went with that. And I was really upset. And I went to the girls, and thank goodness the PSWs that were working there are really compassionate, and they realized that no, this is really not human. So we went, I went to them and I said, well, you put some water on the swabs, and when you know nobody's looking, you give her some water. It's the best we can do at this point, but that's what we are going to do. And that afternoon I went home and I phoned the Ministry of Long-Term Care, and I reported the nursing home because I'm like, that is not human and that is not acceptable no matter what. And so the next day I went in, and of course I had to do a trip to the boss because I reported the home that I was working in. And she said to me, the director of care was there too, and she said to me, why didn't you come to me? And I'm like, I went to the nurse and I went to the director of care, and everybody thought that was acceptable, and it is not acceptable. I am sorry, but no. And so it turned out, well, of course, the Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Long-Term Care investigated, and so it was decided that it was certainly inhuman. The doctor came by, and at least she was able, even so the decision stood what the family had made, but they couldn't decide that she wasn't able to have anything or to drink. So the next couple of days she was allowed to have fluids as much as she wanted, and it took about 5 days till she passed away. It was a very, very sad day for everybody, but certain decisions we can't make, but we can certainly help where we know that things are not right, and this was not right. And then another thing I wanted to talk today about was fighting for what you know is right, even in your own world, with the labor issues that are going on still all the time here. I have seen it 3 times in my career, just the last like 10 years, how the workplaces are not up to date with the labor laws, even the unions. So when I was actually working in that nursing home, we were unionized at that time, and I had started in the fall, and so there was Thanksgiving, but I didn't really pay attention to if I was getting paid for Thanksgiving. But then I definitely noticed at Christmas that I did not get paid the statutory holidays. And so I went to payroll and I said, I need to get paid. And they're like, no, excuse me, you haven't worked here for 3 months. And I'm like, no, we have to get paid. That has been changed for a long time now. And they're like, no. And so I'm like, I went to the union rep and said, this is not right, I need to get paid. And they're like, no, it's in our union agreement that you have to do the 3 months probation. And I'm like, but that's against the labor law. And so I phoned the Ministry of Labor, and they said, no, you're right, you have to get paid. And even if the union, it does not matter if the union says you have to do that probation before you get the statutory holidays, the labor law is always the one that is the key. So if it's worse what the union has in their contract, then the labor law overrules the union. And so I had to actually file a complaint or a grievance against the union, and I won it, and I got all my statutory holidays back paid. And then a few years later, I was working at a doctor's office, and the same thing happened again. I did not get paid for my statutory holidays. And she's like, well, you didn't work them. And I'm like, I still get them paid. That's just the way it works. That law has been in effect for many, many years. And so I fought it, and I got them all back paid. You know, we always think, well, I can't really say anything because then I get fired. Well, as you can see, I fought for the lady and I didn't get fired, and I fought for my statutory holidays and I didn't get fired. There was just another nursing home I worked for, and same thing. You did not get paid for your statutory holidays if you were part-time, but this one, I had a personal connection and I did not go and fight because I knew I'd be there for a while, and but it wasn't that important. I quit shortly after anyways. I was there for a very short period of time, and but I hope that some of you really take this to heart and go out and fight for what you believe in. It is very important. Today was a very this came to my mind yesterday morning, and it hadn't let me go, and I really wanted to share those things, that when you see something going on that isn't right, then you go for it. It doesn't matter if it cost you your job. Then you know you were not in the right place in the beginning. For me, I never lost my job over fighting for what was right, and that's an important message to get across. So do what is right, and go for what you believe in. Okay, have a good one.